Hey, Tommy from the Run Testers, and welcome back to another monthly roundup. This is the video where we talk about all the kits and accessories and things that we've been testing over the past month or so that we want to tell you about and we haven't had a chance in other videos that we've made. So let's jump in and see what we all picked this month.
My first pick this month is the Roka Oslo tie glasses that I've been wearing and am wearing right now. Indeed, I've been using these for all my runs over the past month. These are prescription glasses that are built for people who move, so they have a lot of features that means they will stay in place when you exercise. So that includes the nose pads. You get different nose pads to try and help them fit to the shape of your nose. These non-slipped gecko pads at the end of the arms that mean, again, the glasses are held in place, and they generally have a very lightweight design. They don't fog up. They've worked really well for running every day pretty much since I've had these glasses come in. I've used them for other workouts like yoga, the odd strength session I occasionally do, the odd bike ride, but mostly obviously for running, and they fit really comfortably. I've raced in these a couple of times. I've run several 20-milers in them. They don't get overly sweaty, greasy, they don't fog up, they don't annoy me at all basically. Once I've put them on, I can forget about them for the rest of my run. So when it comes to the fit of them, I think they are very secure. I don't have any bouncing or anything like that. I will still sometimes pop on a little silicone thing on the end, just put it around there, basically just to make sure they don't slip this much, which happens a lot with glasses on my nose. I think basically it's just the shape of my nose, the bridge of my nose means that glasses will slip to there, which isn't the end of the world, and I've done loads of runs where I'll just nudge it back in occasionally or even leave it there. But if I like a nice secure fit, I don't want them to move around, and I'll use those little silicone grippers or hooks, which I've always used with my glasses in general for running, just to make sure they stay exactly in place. So these cost $275 for prescription glasses. There are loads of options you can then spend more on if you want different coatings on the lenses, and there's loads of different frame styles as well. This is just the standard clear lens with obviously the clear frame as well. There's also the normal Oslo glasses, which don't have the titanium arms, that are $265, so just a little bit less there. Obviously there's a massive range of glasses within Roka's website as well, so if you don't like this particular style, I'm sure you'll find one to suit you. But as someone who runs every day, I don't really enjoy faffing around with contact lenses very often unless I'm testing sunglasses or for the occasional race. So most of the time I'm just going to step out the door in my glasses. These have worked really well. They're lightweight, comfortable, and stay in place and don't annoy me on any kind of run. And I can see, which is obviously the main benefit of glasses. Second pick is this nylon strap that I've been using with my Garmin Epix Pro that a few people have seen in videos and asked about. So I always say, if you are going to buy a new strap for your watch, go and get one off eBay, because you get a massive range and it's very cheap. I've got some for the Apple Watch as well off there. This is an official one, but yeah, this is about £5 on eBay. The price fluctuates a little bit. I think it was £4.33 when I bought it. And basically it's a nylon strap. You can obviously pick the size and model of your watch to make sure it fits. The one I've got actually is a hook and a loop closing nylon strap, which is not ideal for the new Epix and Phoenix because their pins on those don't come out. So the little pin on this watch here, you can't remove that without breaking it. So I thought, okay, that's annoying, that's not going to work. But actually, I just pushed the hook through and that's been fine. I've used it now for several months, my entire marathon training cycle, and that doesn't come out no matter how hard you pull it. So it's still very secure, don't have to worry about that. You can also get open-ended nylon straps off eBay. That means you can just hook them through either side, very much in the style of the actual Garmin official ones, while costing a lot less. So yeah, they're just nylon straps basically, and they're really cheap. They're on eBay. You might have to wait a couple of weeks for it to arrive, but they are perfectly good and work very well on the watch, and you get a much bigger range of colours, including light blue, which is what I wanted. So I went to eBay and found it. Now I've got two of them. Durability is fine. Like, this is the older one. It's been used for a lot, running every day, showering with it every day. It's obviously faded a little bit and got a bit scuffed up, but it is still perfectly functional, and you can always buy a new one for another £5, as I did, when that one does get a bit too scuffed up for you, if you do like it to look nice and fresh. So the last thing I want to review this month in Monthly Essentials is the new Gore Concurve waterproof jacket. This came out very recently. It's picked up a couple of design awards from ISPO and is a very good waterproof running jacket with a high price, as is always the case with Gore's top jacket. It's $280 or £270, and what you're paying for really is obviously a very lightweight, breathable jacket that works very well for running. And I think the really standout feature with the Concurve jacket that I've noticed during my testing is the fit. It is a slim fit jacket, and it really hugs the body very nicely, very closely, and just means you get that complete freedom of movement you want on the run. I've worn this jacket for lots of marathon training runs, including a 24-miler. I've also used it down the track for hard reps, and that it doesn't overheat. It fits very nicely. It's just really a great layer that does handle the elements really well. It's also really very breathable, so I have used it mostly in the rain, but actually that 24-mile I ran in, it was about 1 or 2 degrees Celsius and actually not raining, but it was very cold, and I wore that jacket with a lightweight base layer underneath, and that was enough to get the body temperature regulation bang on. So yeah, it's a really great jacket, as you'd expect for this price. You've got that winning combination of waterproofing and breathability. It's the fit that really stands out, I think, on the market. It gives you that really nice close fit. It is a slim fitting jacket, so I have a EU medium. It's a European medium, it's a US small, and it fits me very well. I'm about 6 foot tall and pretty lanky and gangly, as you can see. It's a packable jacket, packs down into its own pocket. It comes fairly small, not very small, but it does pack down pretty easily. Only thing I'm not entirely sold on about the design is these slightly different fabric sections on the wrist here, which are a bit softer, which does feel nice, but I found that they took slightly longer to dry. And actually, occasionally after the jacket got soaked, you can pretty much shake most of it entirely dry, but these little patches will stay a bit wet, and then you put it on again and you have a little wet patch against your wrist. Not the end of the world, but just something I noticed. So obviously it's a very expensive jacket. Waterproof jackets are very expensive for running if you're going to get a really high-end one. This is a very high-performing jacket, but it is a big expense. We do actually have a video on the channel of the best cheap jackets if you want to check that out. So there are options here that cost a lot less, but for a good waterproof jacket, you often have to pay quite a lot. And this Gore Concurve jacket, I think, is one of the best available, thanks to that really impressive fit.
Now we're seemingly still flipping from spring back to winter here in the UK, and that means I've been running in some pretty changeable conditions out there. It's pouring down with rain out there now and I'm about to go out. You head out in blue skies though often and suddenly you find yourself being pelted by moody rain. I also hate being cold. I much prefer to run too hot than risk getting too chilled. So I've been reaching for this new Pertex Shield Fabric Asics Fujitrail waterproof jacket. It's designed for trail adventures. It's waterproof up to a point. Longer kind of periods of heavy rain actually defeat it. It has sealed seams though. It's nicely lightweight. It's breathable. It's ideal for just taking the edge off windy and cold conditions as well without being over hot. All those moments where you've been kind of moving for 8 hours and just need a little something to help stabilize your core temperature. This is a good jacket to have in your pack. It's easily stashed and packs down into its own pocket. You've got one chest pocket here that's also waterproof. You've got some thumb loops here, or they're not thumb loops, but they're sort of cuff loops that hold the cuffs in place. It's nice, solid, kind of easy to use zips. I suffer really bad from Raynaud's, so fiddly zips can be a pain. Really like the colours. Overall, it's not cheap, but it is a great option for lightweight obligatory ultra kit. Now it's also race season, and that means decisions about what gels to use to fuel your adventures are being made. And I hear a lot of people say that they just can't get on with artificial maltodextrin gels, and they're looking for something different, alternative ways of fueling. And one option I really like, which is totally different, is this. It's VALA's gut-friendly, all-natural energy gels. They're made from just 5 ingredients. You've got maple syrup, a date paste, you've got salt in there, lemon and lime juice, and chia seeds. The consistency is somewhat different than it's like more like a paste than a gel. You can use them during higher intensity efforts, but arguably they suit slower, longer endurance efforts a little bit better. They're also very sweet, and with some gels you need water to wash down the kind of gloop and rinse your mouth. But with the VALA gels, it's a little bit more to take the edge off the overall sweetness. Now I've used VALA gels for marathons and ultras, and I find them a bit overpowering if I try to sort of hit a 60 grams of carbs per hour tally, but I absolutely love adding them into the mix as a change of taste and texture with other gels. So provided you like dates, I think you actually look forward to eating these gels, and with 24 grams of carbs in each really quite compact 35 gram gel, that's a decent hit of energy from a much more tasty and natural source. Now, I've always done a lot of run commuting, and these days if I'm going to a meeting about 10 kilometers away, if I can get away with running to it, I am going to be running to it. I've tested dozens of running packs over the years for Big Tiles Runners World, Men's Fitness and Stuff magazine here in the UK, and hands down one of my all-time favourites is this OMM Ultra 12 litre light pack. It's such a well-balanced bag. There's just enough space to take a laptop and a change of clothes and a towel, but it doesn't feel baggy and floaty if it's not full as well. The harness here is nicely padded and comfortable. There's no kind of bounce. It sits really nice. That's made easy with the adjustable sternum and waist straps. There's not a load of pockets here. You've got a zippered pocket up the top here, one to the right, and some open stretch mesh pockets here on the sides as well. Ideally, I'd really like 2 of these kind of waist zippered pockets. There's also no upfront bottle storage, so I probably wouldn't use it to race an ultra. But for everyday commute or long day adventures on the trails where you don't need immediate access to water, this bag is my go-to, and I think it's pretty reasonably priced too. I've been using mine for close to 3 years now, and it's still going really strong, no signs of wear and tear, really versatile. I just think a great option for those kind of everyday runs where you're going to be carrying a lot of kit.
So my first pick this month is the Soar Advanced Race Vest. Now this top, it's very expensive. I use Soar vests for all of my races. So we've got Run Tester Soar vests, and I also have Soar vests from my running club as well. And they're by far my favourite vests to use if I'm doing a proper race and want something that's really light and breathable and just feels really, really comfortable. I've never had any issues with Soar when it comes to things like rubbing, and when I've used them for marathons, they've just felt really light and comfortable. They almost feel like you're not really wearing anything, whereas some of the other stuff that I wear can feel a little bit bulkier. They're by far the lightest feeling vests that I have ever tested, and would always use them for any races. But the Advanced Race Vest, this is a new one that is quite a bit more expensive than the existing race vest. So this comes in at £130, which is very expensive for a race vest. So what I would say about this is that it's probably only really something to buy if maybe you really care about how light your top is and what it feels like, because that's a lot of money for a race vest. But I've really enjoyed running in this vest. What I would say about it is, so it's designed slightly differently than the standard race vests that Soar make. It uses a 3D woven design, and it has a bit more of a I wouldn't say papery, because it's not. That sounds negative, but it has this sort of crepe fabric design to it, which just feels really, really light. The normal Soar vests feel really, really light as well, but this has a bit of a different feel to it. The other thing about it's got this reflective design over the around the neck, which I'm not too sure about. I don't really need reflective design around the neck. It looks a bit futuristic for my liking, and a bit of detailing around the bottom as well. It also, for me, feels a little bit higher in the neck than the other Soar vests, so it feels a little bit more like a bit more tank top than vest, although I do think the design is pretty similar. I think it's pretty minimal if there is a difference. But when I've been running this, it does feel incredibly light and comfortable. I keep losing it because it's black, and it gets rolled up in the bottom of my cupboard, and because it's so light and small, I can't find it. But it is very, very comfortable, very, very light. The sweat just disappears off of it straight away. It's really good if you want something that dries really quickly. The other Soar vests are very good at that, but I think this is better than that. But it's a lot more expensive, so it's with the normal Soar vest, you're still getting a fantastic vest that is relatively expensive. But I think a lot of runners are buying those vests now because for race day and things, they are really, really good options. This is probably a very serious option, maybe one that you don't necessarily need if you already got an existing Soar vest, but I do think this is a very nice option, and in some ways it's an improvement on the existing Soar vests. So in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing the Boston Marathon. It's the first time I've ever qualified for Boston Marathon, so it's a bit of a big deal. I never thought I'd get into Boston Marathon 3 years ago. I never even planned to try and get qualifying time for it. But after I did Chicago a couple of years ago, I got the qualifying time, and now I can do Boston. So it's quite a big deal for me, and I'm probably going to end up buying a lot of souvenirs from that race. I might be buying some of the kit that's at the expo just because I want to have a memento of the fact that I qualified. But when it comes to kit for these races, sometimes if you get it from the expos, and there's lots of brands that work with the various marathons, they tend to be it tends to be kit that it's branded, but I don't necessarily want the kit itself. They're not necessarily brands that I really want to get race kit from. But Tracksmith is a little bit different. Now, Tracksmith, they produce a range of marathon kits for the marathon majors, so London, Tokyo, Boston. They produce a range of designs for each of those marathons, and this is the Boston Tee, which is the limited edition design for Boston 2024. Now, the reason I like this is it's a memento of a race that I'm very much looking forward to doing, and I'm very proud of being able to do. But it's also a piece of kit that I actually want because I really like wearing Tracksmith running kit. So it's nice to have that option. It's quite a smart move by Tracksmith to focus on the majors and produce some kit that is actually really nice. This is really good. I've used it today for a 32 kilometer run. It's very light and comfortable, sweat wicking. But the other thing as well I like about it is it fits me really well. I have a bit of a weird body shape. I'm quite well built in my upper body, and sometimes when I get race kit, it doesn't really fit me very well, and I don't find it very comfortable. Tracksmith seems to be designed for people like me, so it's just a little bit more relaxed in certain areas, and just works very well. I think it's because Tracksmith is a performance running brand, but it's also a fashion brand. So a lot of the kit that is released, I will wear outside of running. So it's quite nicely designed as just nice tops. And because of that, the fit's probably a little bit different. So I find it very comfortable to wear. It's well worth picking up if you are doing one of the majors and you want a nice souvenir that isn't from the brand that is associated with the marathon itself. Tracksmith also have some other options as well when it comes to the majors limited edition kit. So this is the Boston Race Vest or singlet from 2024. I haven't actually tested this yet because I don't really want to wear Boston Race Vest until I've done the race. So I'm saving this maybe for the race, but definitely after I've done the race. But yeah, and the other feature about that is because it's a race vest, they put these nice little golden safety pins on there as well, so you can use them for your bib. But I'll report back on that in a future roundup once I've tested it after I've finished Boston. So that's it from us on the monthly roundup this month. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and click that little bell, and check the caption below to find a link to our podcast, which comes out a couple of times each month. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.